Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Can you feel it? You can feel the earth rumbling a little, huh? I think a lot of people are confused, they don't know what it is, it's certainly not an earthquake, but we gotta put an end to the confusion because I know exactly what it is. Friends, Washington is shaking, the halls of Congress are buzzing, the media is frothing at the mouth, and the establishment is trembling. Why? Well, because they know exactly what's coming. A Trump cabinet that cannot be influenced or intimidated. A cabinet that intends on bringing entirely new ideas, new personalities to Washington to shake things up. That's what's causing those vibrations. It's the appointment of Matt Gaetz as the incoming Attorney General. A fearless, relentless, and absolutely unapologetic American patriot is coming to shake things up a little. The very man who's been exposing the swamp for years now holds the power to reform it from the inside. And boy, oh boy, are they panicked. And really the question is why? Why are they so scared? Why are they so panicked? So desperate to stop him? Even Republicans seem desperate to stop him. Well, I think it's pretty obvious. Let me show you guys exactly what I mean. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks. So this is why. Washington likes things that they can control, you know? They want your typical empty soup politician, you know, the regular Mike Pences of the world, the Mitt Romneys, that don't really shake the boat too much, are too scared to delve into important controversial topics, and most importantly, that are afraid of the media. People who don't want to deal with bad press, who don't have the courage to essentially do what Donald Trump does and talk real truth to power. And that, of course, is exactly who Matt Gaetz is.
The people of Yuma are good folks, and they deserve a lot better from the federal government than they have been getting. And whether or not they'll get it depends heavily on the House of Representatives, and particularly this group, and whether or not we will fight for them. We don't have a single Democrat that we could even convince to come to this briefing to get evidence from these experts. You think we're going to get President Joe Biden and Chuck Schumer to pass legislation without a fight, without demanding that it go in must-pass bills, and we have to use every bit of leverage, or this is a deeply unserious exercise. Now, Dr. Trenchel, about 1 in 4 of the migrants who use birthing services at your hospital need neonatal intensive care unit services, NICU, right?
That is true, yes.
And that rate, 1 in 4, is way higher than with the non-migrant population, right?
Very much higher,
and you got about 20 beds at any given time.
Correct.
And they fill up sometimes, don't they?
Yes, they do.
And so when you have those beds that are full up because of the pressure of these migrant communities, where do you have to send the residents of Yuma when they have a baby that needs NICU?
We would have to fly them to Phoenix or another venue.
And that's 170 miles away.
Yes, it is.
There are few prayers that I have ever seen more sincere and deeper than the prayers of parents when their little babies are at the NICU. And for all the folks on the left who want to lecture to us about how humane an open border is, there is nothing humane about putting a parent on a 170-mile journey when they need NICU services. A diverse and inclusive force is a war-fighting imperative. This is on a slide at the Air Force Academy. General Clark, do you agree with that statement?
I do agree with that statement, sir.
So, I mean, were the Mongols diverse?
Well, sir, I'm not really as versed on Mongol warfighting as I am on U.S. warfighting.
Were the Vikings diverse?
Again, sir, I'm looking at our country, the most diverse country in the world.
Sure, but this is about a war-fighting imperative. How about the force in Ukraine? Are the Ukrainians fighting the Russians a diverse force?
Sir, once again, my concern is the people that I'm charged to build into leaders.
Right, but you would acknowledge that throughout history, including present history, that statement hasn't borne true in every example, right?
Sir, what I would say is that those countries have to rely on the full force of their population to build a war-fighting force to win our wars, and that's why it's important for us to be diverse, because our nation...
So let's look at the population that actually makes up the fighting force frequently. Now, we have more men than women, right? 70-30-ish?
That's correct.
And of the men we have, most of them are not transgender men. Most of them are cisgender men, right?
Yes, sir.
But yet, at our academies, we push something called the Brooke Owens Fellowship. Are you familiar with that?
I am, yes, sir.
And in that fellowship, it specifically says, if you are a cisgender man, this program isn't for you. So you just said that your answer on why we do this full hug of these diversity concepts is because it's all about the fighting force that we draw from, but you're literally pushing a program in the academies that says if you're a cisgender woman, a transgender woman, a non-binary, agender, bigender, two-spirit, demigender. What's demigender? Well, sure, that's all of these people. You're a cisgender man. You don't even get to apply.
Well,
do you know what demigender really means?
I'm not really sure, sir.
Right. So do you know what agender means? All one word, not a space gender, but agender.
Sir, I don't.
Right. So here we are pushing a fellowship, calling for people that you don't even know what the words mean, and the number one group of people, the cisgender men, are excluded. Now, in the name of diversity, equity, and inclusion, should we be pushing programs that we can't define that exclude the largest group of service members? 2 million encounters and releases under your watch. So not including the Title 42 expulsions, not including violent criminals. Of those 2 million plus that you've encountered and released, how many have you told to go home?
Congressman, individuals who are released are placed in immigration enforcement proceedings under the law where they can make their claim for relief. If their claim for relief is not satisfied, they are subject to removal from the United States.
Right, subject to removal sounds very different than actually removed. So I'm not interested in the process. I'm not interested in what people are subject to. 2 million people encountered and released. Not the expulsions under Title 42, not the criminals. How many of those people have you deported?
So, Congressman, a few points. Number one.
Just how many of the people? I just want to know how many. It's just a number.
Congressman, we are dealing with a completely broken immigration system.
I get it. No, Mr. Secretary, I'm not going to let you burn my 5 minutes. Do you know the answer? Do you know the number of people out of that 2 million that you've removed that aren't criminals?
I do know that we have removed more aggravated felons.
Right, I'm not asking about them. I've caveated that away, because here's what I'm sort of getting and what your non-responsiveness is demonstrating. The Mayorkas doctrine is this. If you show up at the border and get released into the country, if you don't commit a specific aggravated felony, which, by the way, doesn't include a lot of assault and battery, doesn't include a lot of bad domestic violence, but if you're not one of the people who commit those crimes, you get to stay forever. I guess I'm just wondering, Mr. Attorney General, has anyone at the department told President Biden to knock it off with Hunter? I mean, you guys are charging Hunter Biden on some crimes, investigating him on others. You've got the president bringing Hunter Biden around to state dinners. Has anyone told him to knock it off?
Our job in the Justice Department is to pursue our cases without reference to what's happening in the outside world.
Just yes or no. Have you done that?
That is what we do.
So it's a no?
No one that I know of has spoken to the White House about the Hunter Biden case.
I'm wondering then.
Of course not.
Okay, I got it. So Hunter Biden is selling art to pay for his $15,000 a month rent in Malibu. How can you guarantee that the people buying that art aren't doing so to gain favor with the president?
The job of the Justice Department is to investigate criminal allegations. You have information.
Are you investigating this? I mean, someone who bought Hunter Biden's art ended up with a prestigious appointment to a federal position. Doesn't it look weird that he's become this immediate success in the art world as his dad is president of the United States? Isn't that odd?
I'm not going to comment about any specific.
Not going to comment, not going to investigate. He is a learning organization. Haven't you learned yet that the military is weaker, not stronger, with the 8,600 people that you vax mandated out of the military?
Just one point, Congressman. The reason I'm here is because the chairman requested that I appear to talk about the circumstances surrounding my hospitalization.
But don't you see the hypocrisy in it? Because you screwed up, we fix your screw up, and now you want grace. But these people who sought religious exemptions, they got no such grace. And also, I just think it's ridiculous that we're in 3 wars. You went AWOL for 3 days, and we get 2 hours with you. If you can't spend more than 2 hours answering these questions, I don't know how you really operate in all these wars.
And so there it is, folks. That's why they fear him. You see, Matt Gaetz isn't your typical politician. He doesn't just do the song and dance. He doesn't kiss the ring of the DC elites. And he sure as hell doesn't play by the rules of the establishment. And that is exactly why they are scrambling to stop him from becoming Attorney General. And of course, we've seen the Democrats panicking. But what's even more telling is that some Republicans are now openly talking about blocking his confirmation.
You know, we've had names like Rubio, Waltz, Gaetz even. I mean, what do you make of the choices so far?
I think the choices are very good except one. Look, Gaetz won't get confirmed. Everybody knows that.
And why would they do that? Well, because Matt Gaetz represents a seismic shift in Washington politics, but not just politics, culture. A shift that threatens the comfortable power structures on both sides of the aisle. Matt Gaetz is not afraid to speak his mind. And that obviously is a problem for the power pushers in Washington. When he sees corruption, he calls it out. When he sees waste, he stands against it. What the establishment wants are weak, easily controlled politicians who fall in line. We're sending $100 billion to Ukraine. And more untold billions to other foreign nations, giving the Democrats everything they want in these bills, spending on all this useless crap, just expanding and bloating bureaucracy. And each and every single time, Matt Gaetz votes against it, and frankly rallies against it. When Kevin McCarthy was leading Republicans in the House and essentially violating the mandate, you could say violating the oath to his office, refusing to enact the will of Republican voters who put him there in the first place, what did Gaetz do? He rallied against him. And of course, the Freedom Caucus was born. Well, the Washington insiders don't like this too much. They don't like it when you question their power. They don't like it when you challenge their power. And you know, we saw that very clearly with Donald Trump's first miracle victory back in 2016, the way the Republican Party recoiled, rejected him, and tried to block him at every turn. Well, now they're doing the same thing to Matt Gaetz, and what does that tell you? Well, it means that Matt Gaetz probably represents something that's good. He represents change, challenge, and most importantly, honesty and consistency. He's consistent. When he knows his voters want something, he fights for it in Washington. When he knows something's amiss, he exposes it for everybody to see. You know, it seems almost as if Matt Gaetz is uncorruptible. Kind of seems like a good characteristic for Attorney General, now doesn't it? He would be the absolute last person to cave to the political pressure of the swamp. We've already seen him take on the FBI. We've seen him take on the deep state. We've seen him take on the media without flinching. The guy's a freaking bulldog when it comes to fighting for justice, fighting what he believes is right. You know, that's my assessment at least. But for some reason, they want you to believe that he's such a deeply flawed, horrible character and human being who should never be Attorney General. I don't know, I'm not sure if I'm buying that, especially considering the fact that they don't exactly have an argument. You know, what's the argument against Matt Gaetz? Oh, he's unqualified. What do you mean? Please expand on that. And of course, this coming from the same senators who essentially greenlit all of Joe Biden's legitimately unqualified candidates, or nominations rather. It just doesn't seem to stack up. It seems like a massive gaslighting campaign. I look at Matt Gaetz, I've seen his behavior, we've covered him for years. He's highly intelligent, capable, he seems very honest, he's not intimidated by the media, by the smear campaigns. When he sees something corrupt, he spotlights it more than any other Republican in Washington. And so that's kind of the argument for why he should be Attorney General, but the argument as to why he shouldn't is he's either unqualified or, no, he's no good and he's definitely not gonna pass. We're gonna block that. As if we're just supposed to accept this characterization of Matt Gaetz based on their dismissive attitude. Oh, everybody knows he's crazy. Who's everybody? Why? Explain, please. Elaborate. They think you're stupid. And it's obvious that they think they know better than you. The country elected Donald Trump, not only in the Electoral College, but by majority. The country wants change. They want what's coming. And now these few standout Republicans believe they have the right to stand in front of that change because they know better. It cannot be allowed to stand. And Elon Musk already promised that he'd be primarying any Republican who stood in front of the agenda. And so what I think these Republicans don't get is that Matt Gaetz is the agenda. That's exactly what people are looking for. New faces, new idea, but most importantly, courageous people who are willing to stand up, speak the truth, and challenge power. And that's exactly who Matt Gaetz is, and that's why they're so freaking scared. If Matt Gaetz gets through, which he absolutely should, well, maybe, just maybe, the American people will start getting some answers on all the corrupt controversies we've seen unfold over the last 8 years and probably even beyond. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys on this one. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.